all the sacrifice, handling the enormous weight of massive expectations, ends tonight here. It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. The Celtics are NBA champions.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Your 2024 NBA champions. They've done it again for the 18th time. Congratulations. Hashtag different here. They did it. Proving once again that anything definitely is possible. Welcome back to the ShakeBack Sports Show, Big Game Christian Sports Network. It's your boy, Willie Epting Jr. holding it down. Of course, that was the golden tones of the legendary Mike Breen on the final call of the NBA Finals. We talked at length about that in the first segment. Gonna pick up a little bit about on that here in the second segment. We're going to get to some NFL, and you know what? The hashtag Brothers of Baseball show is going to be in the building again. But, you know, this second segment, it is being brought to you by us. Who is us? We is us. Who is we? We is the Big Game Christian Sports Network, and we are definitely hotter than most. Here's the problem with us. We can't seem to stop at just the one overripe, unofficial, and slightly censored draft talk. So it returns for the 2024 NBA draft, Wednesday, 26 June, that is, 7 p.m., live online, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn with your boy, Willie Epting Jr. Join us as we debate, investigate, debate, speculate, and agree to disagree about who's going where and doing what, when, and how in the 2024 NBA draft. It's the overhyped, unofficial, and slightly censored NBA draft talk. So dot it, blot it, stick it, or tag it. Either way, you got to have it, dog. Come on and holler at your folks, man. On the 26th at 7 p.m. That, of course, is Central Time. All right. So, again, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. I am not a fan, but I am a fan of the sport. I am a fan of the league, even though the league, in my opinion, is watered down to a degree. That's neither here nor there. The Celtics have clinched their 18th championship, the most ever for a team or a franchise in the National Basketball Association in the 100 years plus that they've been playing that game. And you know what's crazy? That the Lakers have 17, but the Lakers have the most finals appearances. And the Celtics obviously have a better finals winning percentage, which goes along with their 18th championship. So if you look at it from a metric standpoint, their efficiency in terms of winning championships is way better than that of the Los Angeles Lakers. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Lakers, with the late great Jerry West, RIP to him and prayers out to him and his family. I did not get an opportunity to mention that on the last episode, but a lot of that is due to the 1-9 finals record that the Lakers have. When Jerry West, they won that one championship with Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain together. Jerry West, of course, is the only player in finals history to win the finals MVP while on the losing team for the championship. So continue prayers out for the West family and all those that were connected to him. The tributes that poured in were nothing short of sensational. I think Shaq had some great words. You know, Jerry West was, as an executive, was responsible for bringing Shaq and Kobe together. Other teams as well. He actually influenced the Golden State Warriors and that dynastic run that they had early in the 2000s by saying, The Warriors were contemplating getting rid of Klay Thompson back then, and it was Jerry West that stood up and said, "Yo, if you guys get rid of Klay Thompson, I quit." And they wound up keeping Klay Thompson, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, R.I.P. Jerry West, one of the greats. I never knew him as a person, but obviously I didn't know him as a person, but from all accounts, he was a better man than he was a player and executive, and that is saying a lot because he is the logo that is the NBA. When you see the silhouette of the NBA, whenever it comes on, or whenever you see an ad or a commercial or what have you, that's Jerry West. So yeah, continue prayers for him and the West family. All right. We're going to switch gears to some baseball because there was an historic game. The hashtag brothers of baseball have entered the room. Willie Epting Jr., your boy, 12s and 6s, 1s and 7s on the weekdays. Monday through Friday is when you can hear the show, BGCSN 1 and 2. And there was a historic game played on June 20th, one day after June 19th. Of course, the nationwide sounding of the alarm that slavery was over some 2 years after the Civil War, but that's neither here nor there. My wife has got on to me about talking too much about politics on this show, and I said, you know what? You might be right. I'm gonna listen to the wiser one. But there was a game played at Rickman Field in Birmingham, Alabama, between the Giants and the Cardinals, and they had the Negro League throwback jerseys on. It was sensational. You got to hear stories from different players about how Rickman Field is so etched in the history of not just Major League Baseball or the Negro Leagues for that matter, but for sports in general. Reggie Jackson, who was one of my favorite players when the A's were winning championships all those years ago, had an opportunity to speak on some history. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, here when he talked about in 1967 about how the racism was so rampant that if there was an establishment, whether it be lodging or otherwise, a hotel, restaurants, or what have you, if there was a spot on their travels that did not accept African-American players or people to come in and patronize the business, Charlie O'Finley was like, okay, yo, we're not staying here. And that was big. I mean, because what that signified in terms of history, and there's, of course, and let me not go down the rabbit hole here, but there's that's the in your face history that some people are trying to hide. But the thing is that Reggie Jackson was one of the most prolific players of all time. I think he's either 10th or 11th on the all-time home run hit list with 544. He hit the 3 home runs against the Dodgers in the World Series in 3 consecutive at bats. And to hear the stories coming from Reggie about these things that obviously happened, it is glaring. But the game itself, that field, they did a tremendous job with the venue, with the production, with the media coverage, and the game itself. Now, the Cardinals wind up winning 7-6, but the story is so much bigger than the score itself. And in actuality, it's bigger than that individual game itself. What it showed, ladies and gentlemen, is the historical perspective of African-American people in the country of the United States, and that you cannot erase what African-Americans have done, been through, have withstood over the course of time. You cannot deny, or you cannot erase that from history and then still call it U.S. history. It just can't be done. The game itself was tremendous. I hope Major League Baseball continues to do things like this. And there was something that warmed my heart that I can't remember if it was Ken Griffey Jr. or whoever it was, but they talked about how this game being played at this historic venue in Birmingham, with all of the historicalness that goes with it, that it would hopefully drive and attract young black girls and black boys back to the sport of baseball. And if you know me as an individual, if you know me as a man, if you know me as a fan of the sport, that is my favorite sport. You know that I have a soft spot in my heart for that particular conversation. And I don't know who eventually could hear or see this, but hey, I got my hand up. What can I do to help? What can I do to help? I understand in the communities where people that look like me don't really have the affinity for the sport of baseball like a lot of us once did. I understand when they say that it's boring, it's too slow, it's this or that. But the thing is that the love of the game doesn't come from immediately jumping in and being a fan of a particular team or the sport of Major League Baseball itself. The love of the game begins at playing it in the fields, playing it in the streets, playing it in the parks. That's where the love of the game begins. And we just don't see that in communities where people look like me anymore. You just don't see it. So I think that is at least a little bit of a roadmap or the beginning of a roadmap to get young African-American boys and girls out there just playing willy-nilly. That's how I fell in love with the sport. And it's fun. It is the funnest game. It really is. Baseball is the only sport where you can either be in the mix, in the field, or in the dugout, or even at the plate, or even on the bump. It is the only sport where you could be in the mix of every single play, or you could be in the mix of no play, and then you out there just chilling, you mingling with the fans. Of course, you're still staying focused, but I've seen it from players like Juan Soto. Between at bats, they're out there mingling with the fans, and that's why the fans love these players so much, because they do those types of things. And Major League Baseball has continued to do a tremendous job of marketing their stars. So it's like, yo, what's the problem? And I think I know what it is. There needs to be, well, you know what? I'm going to hold that to myself, because anybody out there that's watching this and will ultimately hear this, my plea is, if you have any cachet with anybody in the sport, man, tag them in this in this Twitter, because we are live on Facebook. Thank you guys out there for checking us out. My personal page, the network's page, the media group's page. We're also live on YouTube and Twitter and even Instagram TV. I see you guys out there watching. Tag them for me as a favor. I am not asking for any money. I'm just asking to provide a way in which I could do my part in getting the people that look like me back involved in the sport that I love the most. And that's it. That is it. So again, the hashtag Brothers of Baseball Show, Big Game Christian Sports Network, 12s and 6s, 1s and 7s, Monday through Friday on the network 1 and 2. That's BGCSN 1 and 2. We go into in-depth stuff about the sport of baseball. And Leslie Duncan, who is my esteemed co-host, Liz Lay, who is the hashtag Sissy of Baseball, along with Melissa Monto and, of course, Christina Puentes. They love the sport of baseball, and I love them because they love the sport of baseball. And we are a rainbow coalition, because you have an African-American, you have a Peruvian/Asian, you have a white girl, and then you have a Hispanic woman. So we are a rainbow coalition of baseball talk right here on the ShakeBack Media Group, as well as the BGC Sports Network. All right, that may have been a bad joke, but it's really the truth, and it's how I feel about the sport as well. Oh, and then what I wanted to say as well was when I was talking about the sport being boring and too slow, baseball has done a magnificent job of addressing that. They sped the game up with the pitch clock, whether you have somebody on base or not. They've widened. I mean, they've increased the size of the bases, which allows for more athleticism in the sport. And not only that, some people like it, some people hate it. The ghost runner in extra innings, I actually think it helps with the flow of the game. Put somebody on second base at the top or bottom of an inning and see what happens. I like that rule. So the rules have been changed to where it's not nearly as slow and it's not nearly as boring. So come on, y'all, give it a chance. Give it a chance. All right, let's move on to some hockey because I don't follow the sport, but I love the story of the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid and how they were down 3-0 to the Carolina Panthers. 3-0. And now the series is tied at 3, and the Oilers have an opportunity to do something that nobody has seen. Nobody. Well, let's see. In the championship round, I can't remember where it has happened. Now, we've seen it in baseball when the Red Sox were down 0-3 to the Yankees, and they came back and won that series and went on to win the World Series. But not in the actual final championship round do I remember that ever taking place. And it lends to the question, man, if the Oilers are able to take this thing, if the Oilers are able to come back all the way from 0-3 and win the Stanley Cup that is Lord Stanley, will this be one of the biggest choke jobs in the history of athletics, organized, professional, collegiate, high school, Pop Warner, middle school, whatever? Will it be the biggest choke job of all time? And see, this is the part of me that loves all sports. This is the reason why I love sports no matter what it is. I don't know heads from tails about hockey, but this story and what it could mean in terms of content creation is simply off the charts. So I'm like, yo, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't even know the rules to hockey, yo. But it gives me something to talk about. And if it happens, if the Oilers happen to do it, I'm going to unleash a tirade of a rant on the next episode that's gonna mirror that of head coach from the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I'm a man. I'm 40. It's gonna mirror that of the late great Denny Green. If you want to crown him, then crown him. It's going to mirror something of that because, and I'm not even a coach. And I won't even say that I'm a fan of I'm not even a hockey fan, but I'm a fan of sports. But I am a fan of stories as well. So would this be the biggest choke job in the history of organized athletics? We will see. Come on back here on the side of the break. We're going to get to some NFL. Willie Epting Jr., big day. ShakeBack Sports Show. Y'all come back and holler at us.